I'm here today with Tammy. Tammy is a healthcare professional, a nurse, and she has some tips for us on nutrition. We're sitting here at the clinic she works in at the University of Guelph. So Tammy, I've got some questions for you.
Okay.
What is your best advice for people who want to eat in a more healthy way?
Well, first of all, I would suggest that they try to have on hand healthier foods. Stop avoiding buying things like chips and popcorn and pop. Those are high sugar foods and they're the unhealthiest things you can eat. So try to have on fresh fruit, vegetables, have them ready and on hand. Try to have your snacks, healthier snacks, have carrot sticks, grapes instead of a bag of chips, and try to get a variety of foods and not all pastas and all grains and things like that. So try to follow the food guide and have a variety of foods every day.
Oh, I'm glad you said that because that's part of our course that we've been studying is about how the food guide is, like the main way to use it is just to remind yourself to eat in all the food groups. So.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Great. Okay, these suggestions, kind of seem obvious. Eat healthier foods, right? But we all know that sometimes it's not as easy as we want it to be to make those good choices. So we're looking for tips for our participants of how to make those choices easy to make. Do you know what I mean?
To make your lifestyle easier. So yeah, one of the biggest things is have a list prepared before you hit the grocery store so you know what you're shopping for. Avoid the aisles that are full of processed foods, that are full of junk food, pop and chips. Try to avoid those places. Try eating before you go to a grocery store because if you go hungry, you tend to overbuy and you buy junk food just for that instant gratification. So try to avoid that. And when you buy your fruits and vegetables, cut up your carrots, your cauliflower, celery and stuff, have it already in containers in the fridge, cleaned so that when you do get a snack, you don't have to go, oh, I don't feel like cleaning it, I'll just get out a bag of chips. Okay. So if you have them prepared and ready to go, it's easier just to grab them.
Yeah, okay, that's great. That's along the lines of what we've been talking about in our course too, so that's great. So the next question is, are snack foods really as bad as we're told that they are? And what kinds of problems do they cause if we just eat them anyway?
Well, snack foods are definitely as bad as what you're told. They're full of all the unhealthy things, high sugar, high sodium, high fats, the wrong kind of fats. They cause long-term problems, obesity, and in children, as you set up your child's lifestyle and teach them how to eat. If they're eating snacks when they're young and they're unhealthy snacks, it leads to childhood diabetes and later, of course, obesity, and it sets them up for life because this is what they're planning. This is how they've been taught. I eat unhealthy snacks, so that's the way they go through life. So it does add long-term effects to health, obesity, like we said, and diabetes, and that's just something that will carry with you for the rest of your life. And it's a hard thing to change once you have these health problems. So it's really difficult to do. And your foods are just a choice you make that can be a healthy choice or not. And there's nothing healthy about junk food. Nothing.
Right.
There are no nutritional benefits in a bag of chips whatsoever.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned about children too, because the title of the course, which I didn't write on here for you, is actually Feeding a Family. So it's more than just feeding, yourself, although some participants might not have a family, but if you do, then there's benefits to teaching your children how to make healthy choices too, so that's great.
For sure.
Okay, next question. We're almost there. Some foods seem both bad and good for us. Yes, we talked about this in the course, how we hear about healthy fats and unhealthy fats, and we hear about how, we're not supposed to eat a lot of sugar, but our body actually converts foods to sugar and those kinds of things, and so it makes it a bit confusing to understand whether a food is actually good or bad for you and in what quantities or whatever. So we just wondered if you have anything to suggest about that.
Well, that is a tricky thing for sure. Understanding what's good and what's bad, because there are good fats and there are bad fats. There actually really are no good sugars.
Okay.
You can get sugar. You get sugar in your natural, even sugar in your fruits, and too much fruit is not a good thing because then you're adding too much sugar to your body. So, and then sodium, of course, your body needs a bit of salt, but a lot of salt you get in your food that's prepared anyway. So if you can get yourself to learn those three things, your sodium content, your carbohydrate, sugar content, and your fats. If you can just understand those three things so that when you go to a store, you can look at a label and you can see if it's too high in sodium, you can see if it's too high in fats, the good fats, the bad fats, and that can help you to buy wiser things and make better choices.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. So what is the good fat called again? It's called... Yeah, I know. This is the hard part.
This is the hard part, and I don't have it in front of me either. So.
No, that's okay.
But there are, and there
well,
are LDLs and trans
up.
Fats and things. There are places you can go, and Canada's Food Guide, if you even go online, and the government has a really good site set up that you can go on and learn about these things quite easily.
Yeah, I think in my course what I said was that fats to do with animal fats, like the fat on the edge of meat or too much butter and cheese and those kinds of things are probably giving you the poor kinds of fats, and things like nuts, fruits, not fruits, nuts and avocados, fish, those kinds of fats are the better kinds.
Right.
Yes.
Now, I mean, the fats on the meats, meat is a good food for you, and it is a higher percentage of fat, but trim them.
Right.
And it's a good source of protein for you, and you shouldn't exclude, because you'll get these fad diets. People avoid meats. Totally the wrong way to go.
Okay.
Everything in moderation is good, and if you trim the fats off and avoid the fats on them, then you've already decreased the fat content. It makes it a healthier piece of meat.
I'm glad you mentioned about meat, because there's a lot of controversy too about that, and we kind of talked about that a bit in the course, that meat's important for you. So.
And you just have to do a little bit of research, because a healthier diet is the whole thing, all the food groups, a variety of foods, and just in portion size is a lot to do eating properly too. Even though you're trying to eat healthy, if you're having meat, potatoes, and vegetables, and you take double the portion you should be eating, then again you're making bad choices, because your body doesn't need that much food. And the other thing you have to watch for is that prepared foods that you buy in the grocery store, such as canned soups, pastas in the bags, things like that, they all have typically very high sodium levels, because they're already prepared. They put the sodium in it as an additive, as a preservative, to help keep it on the shelf longer. Whereas when you make a sauce at home and you take a can of tomatoes and you look and there's no sodium in it, you use that, you make your sauce, you add your own herbs and things, then it's got a lower sodium content. It's a lot healthier to try and make your food at home than it is to buy pre-prepared stuff, because there's so much filler into it.
We said about that in our there was a part that we mentioned that about the sodium levels and how to tell. There's a scale, and also about, what was the other thing you just said? Just the fact that you get a lot of preservatives in those things as well, and we don't really exactly know what is in there. So
and a lot of the preservatives, they're just not that good for us either. So
okay, all right, great. Well, thank you very much. That was excellent information. And we're asking all of our experts in the field to give us a suggestion for a food that's easy to make that's also healthy. So I know I already told you to think of one. So
yeah, you did. Now I have a couple things I would suggest. Things I know that my family like, because I work and I'm busy, is things like casseroles. And you make them yourself. You have meat, potatoes, like a shepherd's pie. Meat, potatoes, and your vegetable all in one dish. You know, you can make tuna casseroles, which is not my favorite, but you got vegetables, tuna, and some pasta. Same, you can use chicken. And another really good one is soups. They're full of all kinds of healthy stuff, as long as you don't buy high sodium broth. And throw in your vegetables and your meat, and you've got all your food groups covered, and it's a very stable, filling meal.
I'm laughing because soups are my thing. I put a lot of things about soups in this course. So.
Well, we make a homemade soup every week at our house. So.
Very nice. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Tammy, and that was great. It's good information for our participants for our course. So
you're welcome. No problem.